we need to put it out to say that we've created over 3,000 jobs.
Sure.
From our own pocket, we've contributed to this industry. We shot the show. It's doing exceptionally well. We've created work, and we hit a hurdle where we couldn't pay people.
Okay.
Right?
Not actually couldn't pay people also on time.
On time.
Oh.
So it's not even
It wasn't sorry.
It wasn't.
It was a sorry we're coming.
We're coming.
We are coming. We were meant to pay at the end of the production.
Mm-hmm.
We paid a certain portion because we couldn't pay the rest. We are sitting here today, 4 months after we've paid everybody. And yet, SAGA still goes out and says, we haven't paid people. Why? Because they don't even have the information. Why? Because they're driving a propaganda.
We did pitch for an SABC2 show. And now everybody has gone out and said that, no, we have it. Well, here's what it is. We don't have it.
King David Studio podcast.
Kinale ntate mo. I have to say it right. Le ntate Murupi lesha.
No regret, when
Modimo te man.
yeah, no, Vilo Palabalui.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Aropala baloi.
Yeah,
You've been dealing with stuff, but so we contextualize this visit.
yeah,
You came with a business partner.
Yes.
Rashagake is a partner of yours.
yes.
Describe to me how your business entity operates, Rashak.
Yeah. No, look, obviously our business is Bakwena Productions. We're a media house, a production house to be specific. And in essence, ours is to create content that's commercially viable, that sells, and obviously the rest of the world can really relate to. But in terms of our corporate structure, of which we've got our management team, which is our management team, mainly me and Kagiso, the MDs of the company. We've got our creative team, which is our creative producer. We've got our production managers. We've got a whole team of HODs with a structure in order to run this business. But more importantly, as a corporate, we have structures and we have process. Ours, it's basically a garage. Your garage story. We started a business out of a garage, and through the years and through the successes that have come with it, we're now a fully structured business with a full management headed by a board. We have all the necessary infrastructure in place in order to run this business. And this is just all through growth, what really started literally out of a garage.
Having had a chat with you, you've made it very clear to me that this is some point you had to bootstrap the stuff, fund it from your own cash. Right. And that's pretty much how you shot the first Lerato.
Yeah. Till today. And that's how we've always been operating. Everything is from the pocket. Only now we're trying to get into your commission stuff. But we've got 7 titles, and we've never received any funding. It's always been from the pocket.
Not even from your IDCs of this world, because once in a while you see a movie, at the end of the movie, the credits, they show some government departments there.
What we've done in the past years is that we've created a lot of work, David. And that's the one thing that brings us to the show, where we need to put it out to say that we've created over 3,000 jobs.
Sure.
From our own pocket, we've contributed to this industry. We are the guys that have paid royalties. We are the only guys who have done that. We look at legends and we can boastfully say to ourselves, those who have been gone and those who are here, to say that if you've worked with us, we've paid royalties to our legends. As a production house, we are the only production house till today that can boast openly paying royalties in this country. We can boast that, legends who have passed, we've taken care of them by our royalties. And so what we're seeing in the media, and where a hurdle that we went through, and we're not running away from that hurdle, a hurdle that we've gone through is being used to tarnish our brand and our name, as if we are people who don't pay people on time. We've had 7 titles, Rash. You know, and we've been known for guys who will pay you 2 days before you even finish a shoot. We will pay you, you know, or latest on the last day of shoot.
Not 30 days.
Not 30 days. Now we went through a show and we shot the show. It's doing exceptionally well. We've created work and we hit a hurdle where we couldn't pay people.
Okay.
Right?
Not actually couldn't pay people also on time.
On time.
Oh.
So it's not
It
even
wasn't
about
sorry.
it wasn't.
It was a sorry we're coming.
We're coming.
We are coming.
Yes.
And
We're
did we
coming.
come?
And not far.
Yeah, not far. You know, did we come? Yes, we did.
Give me a bit of background though, in terms of how a scenario like that can occur, where a production house that I imagine is associated to a big broadcast platform is given an opportunity and they end up with a situation where they are unable, as you call it, unable to pay on time. What could have, give me a bit of background. Maybe anyone of you can answer.
Yeah. So it's let's not even go to a different scenario. I mean,
use this very example.
Yeah.
Yes, this very example. We shot a show, pound for pound. It's a big drama series with BET. We've partnered up with BET. It's a new concept. We're about to embrace female boxing. We're about to embrace the whole concept of women empowerment, how they can be exceptional. Not that they're backed by men and everything. We have a concept of a boxing show. Boxing in South Africa has been predominantly dominated by legends, your Baby Jakes, your Dingan, and your store. And initially, funny enough, one of our things, our main things actually, is actually to honor our boxing legends that have come through with their stories. But nonetheless, we come up with a show. It's a fresh idea.
That's it.
It's a new idea. It's a female-led show. It's a female-led show, not only on screen, even in the background.
Yeah.
You know, we was literally 70%. That production was run by 70% female, from executive positions right down.
Yeah.
That was clearly a conscious decision.
It was intentional.
Intentionally so.
It was intentional, so that we're doing this thing, not because we're trying to prove something about women. We have powerful women in the industry that put together, that are not celebrated, especially crew. We got together and we did the show. Now, we knew the task at hand was going to be bigger than us. We get into a partnership with BET. We scale this thing. We say on average, we can put together a show like this.
Yeah.
So like,
I keep going.
and then
trying to signal.
Yeah.
So like with everything else, once you now start a project, you always buffer for anticipation.
Of course.
That certain things can go this way or this way. But when you are in the creative space, you are also guided by actually quality. What is production value? And then we encompass. So we had a show, we said, no, this is not a drop and loss.
Yeah.
We actually want a quality show that can sell worldwide. And we are going to put together everything that we have.
Yeah.
That means now you need to cash flow the project on a weekly basis.
Sure.
With us, even worse, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You have 21 days to do a show that takes 90 days, which is a 13-part drama.
What makes it how many days? 21 days.
21
What
days.
makes it 21 days? Is it?
Budget.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Budget.
and pressure, because there's a slot that is open
on the channel.
Yeah.
On the channel. And you have to TX.
and it has to TX now.
Miss the date, you miss
You
the
know what I
opportunity.
mean? And for us, I'll tell you why we got into this, because we've been doing very well. We shoot our films, we put them out, and everything is fine. But this was the first 13-part
Drama
True.
series. Yeah.
that we're going to go into. It's exciting for us.
Yeah.
And then we decide to then invest into it. And we take everything that we've saved and we invest into it, going into it. But while we, and we've shot it very well. We can't take that from anybody. We can't take that from our crew. We can't take away which is the treatment that people had on set, from actors to crew. We were the guys that made sure that we treat actors according to the standard of what we want it to be, what we have fought for it to be. Yeah.
Not actors, crew also. We
Crew as
always
well.
leave the treatment of crew.
Yeah.
There was nobody who was shortchanged in the show.
Yes,
From
gotcha.
logistics from catering to even treatment on set. Time on arrival, if you had issues that you had, whether I keep Babalas or not, we'll put it out. We put out the treatment. How do we get you to come onto the project? Everybody was an equal on the show. And in order to do that, we have to put it out there. It means that with the treatment with stars that you have put on this thing, we wanted that feeling when somebody comes to get the utmost performance. Come in. We will make sure you're picked up in your V class in the morning. Where we don't, we will make sure that crew and cast have got the same carriage that they move with. We will make sure, from a catering perspective, everybody eats the same quality food. There is no hurno, kamo, we all had one place where we ate. We moved like a team. But more importantly, the equipment that we're using. The equipment that we're using was out of this world. Some of the cameras that we're using was a first. Just your Puranos. Nobody's used Puranos in South Africa. We got that. Your Snorri cams that we're using. We've got an action impact show. We didn't want it to be another boxing show. We wanted to make it real. We wanted to make it believable. We wanted to make sure you're treating people. You've got stunt doubles. You have everything. Your VFX, your SFX. We count every small detail that comes into put it. And that's where, yes, our CAPEX, maybe we didn't get our figures right. We get it on this, but at the end of the show, we're like, okay, there's a bit of a short change and it's now time to pay. So that's what it comes out of the quality. Not because of these stories that are coming out in the media that we went and bought ourselves Porsches. It was nothing like that. Every crew member saw us on a daily basis.
I don't know.
First one to come, last one to leave. That was the whole approach. 4 a.m, and we're shooting 21 days straight.
Sure.
We're shooting 21 days straight. That means you're coming in at 4:30 in the morning. You're leaving at 9:30 in the evening. By the time you get home, it's 12:30. You're up again. So
I've seen that. It's ridiculous how you guys do it.
So, David, for us, it's more about
the thought,
having to say the treatment was was amazing. And we went overboard.
And people can back this up.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to come across if you are defending something and they'll say, but he's lying. There's nothing like that.
Do you know what I mean? We brought physiotherapists on set.
Sure.
Because of the kind of show that we were doing. You'd never hear of that.
Didn't you overextend yourself?
We did, but we did, and we're not running away from it. We are accepting it, and we are taking the blame. Where we have an issue is when you find, or now, after having paid people, after having fixed the problem, our name is still getting tarnished on the streets by organizations who don't have full information.
Let's go one step back. You missed the payment.
Yes.
And the reason you missed the payment could be you overextended yourselves and so forth and so on.
Yes.
Put it in simple language. We were meant to pay on the 12th. We paid on the 30th.
Yes.
And give it to us
it's as simple as that, David. Like, we were meant to pay at the end of the production. We paid a certain portion because we couldn't pay the rest.
Was it well communicated?
Yes.
Okay.
And we put it out there, and what we found is that when we were communicating, right, every communication that we sent out was being taken to the media and it was being twisted. Now, what do you do when you're in a position like that? You hold back a little bit, and then you start now assessing, how do I communicate, right? And you do have promises that you are going to get paid on this day. So
by the production house, by the broadcaster.
No, but wherever you're getting the money, right?
Well, not even by the broadcaster. The broadcaster, there was a contractual arrangement in place with a schedule.
Okay. I want him to complete the other thought.
With a schedule. So
you know what I mean? With a schedule, right? So when we're expecting money on a certain time, we communicate that. Well, we're going to get paid kadi date, right? Or we're going to get some money kadi date, because now we are also looking for money so that we can try and squash this thing as quick as we can.
Got you.
So we communicate. But when we communicate that, it becomes ammunition to be used against us, right? And specifically, then you have an actor right? Who then rallies everybody to come together, and they start making noise, making false accusations on in the media, as if Regile knew. You know what I mean? But here we are dealing, and I'll mention the name. You know, you're dealing with a Brendan Oret, who, first of all, our mandate as Bakwena is always to say, let us go and revive old careers. If you will see in all the productions that we've done, right, we have a mandate to say we have to have new talent onto the show.
Gotcha.
So we go and we revive Brendan. And before we even start shooting, you know, he's not open about being in Cape Town. We know what he's in Johannesburg. Because what's happening? If it does happen that these guys know that I'm in Cape Town, I might not even get the job.
Okay.
We say, no, we don't want you to worry about that. We treat him like a king. We fly him in and out of Cape Town.
Sure.
And on day 2, he says, he needs money. You know, I'm not trying to tarnish his name, but I'm just trying to show you what we went through, right? It's desperate. Something is not going right. Can we assist? We pay him half. 2 days in.
Half of
his complete contractual obligation.
Okay.
And he's only supposed to be paid at the end.
At the end.
Of course, yeah.
Because we understand, you know, being an actor myself, I know the struggles, right? When we finish shooting, Rahafa, but we have 2 extra calls with him.
Okay.
Out of those 2 extra calls with him, he goes on a rampage. While we haven't paid Bale Babang.
But you were late.
We were late.
And he knew you were late.
Yes.
Meaning that you've told that we are going to delay.
Communicated it.
No, even worse. I think with him it's even worse. With him it's even worse. We were not late with him.
Oh,
so we were early.
You were early.
We were early with him.
But what is the objective?
And then we're early with there's where the witch hunt goes. You've got somebody where you communicate a problem. We're not supposed to be paying you there, but you have us because you're not going to get on stage.
Gotcha.
You're not going to perform without payment. We've already established you. We can't reshoot all the days that we have shot.
No,
yeah.
We have to find this money because you are standing there. Bear in mind, this is an actor who was supposed to actually pick up from a house in Johannesburg and get him. Now we're flying him in, we're accommodating him, and we're also making sure that he's got money every day in order so that he can sort himself. All of those things are happening clockwork. All of those things are, and this is when you want. We're not even saying, can't you just stay here for 3 weeks? Let's finish this thing and you go. No, this is something. When he shoots 2 days, he wants to go back to Cape Town. We have to bring him back in again. He goes to Cape Town now, miss this, and we're accommodating so much, and we're saying that when we finish the shoot. Then he's one of those guys, then he comes and then he rents and he starts threatening and he starts sending threatening messages on his money. Maybe even, not even month end. We're going to the month end. A week after, we finished we were shooting mid-month. He goes and he gets the money before even the due date of payment. He gets the balance of his payment. He then comes. He's not even looking at his schedule. He's not even looking at it. He then comes after month end and he says he did publicity. We said, but that means you haven't read your contract. We then look into the contract. We said even worse. This is somebody who negotiated how much he wants for the contract, but then actually refused to sign the contract.
Reason,
so we even
reason being?
He didn't. There's email trails that we said, can we please have your contract back? He didn't. But he was the first one to run to the media, start threatening, going personal now. Saying, so if we post about a personal matter where one is with their family, he goes in and looks, this one is married to who? Gariso Rashak, it depends who he catches first. Him and his wife now go on the rampage, say that our family is now stuck. They're getting kicked out of Cape Town. Our daughter is hungry. They're getting out of schools. My car has been repossessed. My house has been repossessed.
Now we are sitting there with money. Now we are sitting there with money. But for me, David, what really struck a nerve is when we have a professional relationship and then for you to go and attack my family, for you to go into my daughter's Instagram, for you to now start stalking my wife. I mean, I didn't, when I had problems with you on set, I didn't call your wife.
No. No.
Do you get what I'm saying?
100%.
And for me, those are the things that were never spoken about on in the media. When he was going on a rampage, he didn't say these guys helped me out.
Is he the guy that started the problem?
He's the guy that really started the problem, right?
Yeah.
And we go, no, man, because it's two calls. There are people in the production at that time who haven't been paid in full.
And he's, based on your story, he was paid a little bit.
No, he
was paid 50% of his fee.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
50% of his fee because he would not get on set.
Yeah. But then Harifeza, when we finished the shoot, we paid the balance. He only had 2 calls left.
And he was basically saying, I will not come until I have the rest of my cash.
Yeah.
No, he was basically, he gets his cash. We wrap the show. All is well.
Yes.
He gets the balance. He then says, out of the balance that you've paid, I was called for 2 extra calls. Standby calls, by the way. Standby calls.
Basically,
standby calls.
Claim is on the overtime. In inverted commas.
Basically.
On a standby. On a standby.
Now, David,
and he says
who do
he
you
adds
prioritize?
Wait a minute. Let me understand. All this was created by that?
By that.
Now,
Not the 50%, not by the 2 stand-up calls.
Yes.
Has caused all this trouble.
Has caused all this trouble.
But now here's where my other problem is that then you've got an organization like SAGA, South African Guild of Actors, right? Who I will boldly say I started SAGA, fighting for the rights of actors. It was me with Jack and with an agent. And I was still called the Julius Malema of the industry at that time because Nikelwana, fighting for the rights of the actors. And royalties and all of that. And I still went and I paid royalties. Now, my question is, how do you jump onto this and you haven't called me?
You haven't gone, and whether is it calling you or going to organizations that can help you?
I get it, David. It's like Nalo and I, we were fighting together, fighting for the same cause. I hit a hurdle, right? And you don't come to me, at least a courtesy call to say, Emuna, what's going on? I see that this is what's happening, so I can explain it to you. What you do as SAGA, you use this as an opportunity for you to then go and make noise with false accusations that you don't even know about. Wow. We are sitting here today, 4 months after we've paid everybody. And yet, SAGA still goes out and says, we haven't paid people. Why? Because they don't even have the information. Why? Because they're driving a propaganda.
But with what objective? I'm trying to understand.
That's the question.
No,
There's this rumor that is that we got this big contract, right? And my question is, if we got this big contract, for me, when an article comes out and says, why is this broadcaster giving Bakwena Productions this when they haven't paid people?
And that's the SABC. I think we need to open and honest.
Yeah.
The SABC has got nothing to do with what's going on with us and BET. Now, there's a rumor that comes out that we might have scored a show with the SABC that's going to replace Mobile.
Okay.
Now, that rumor comes out. Everybody then says, oh, no, this must be a big deal. So now, how do we jump back in now? And we use that opportunity in order to address the issues. And you ask, what is all of this for?
It confuses me.
The agenda that's driven, the only agenda that now your SAGA, your SABEC, and we don't even have a guild in South Africa. We don't have a professional guild.
No.
We've got organizations that come together and they want to rally a certain narrative that is obviously supposed to benefit the industry.
Yeah.
Now you have not had a platform, or maybe the way you've approached this matter of fighting for actors' rights, for artists, is a bit different. Maybe your understanding is different, and you're not hitting the notes that open up the right conversations. You can't go, you're saying you're fighting for actors' rights when an actor is a worker We already have a constitution in place. Workers' rights are thoroughly covered in South Africa.
Yeah.
They're thoroughly covered in South Africa. That means you don't understand the constitution. You don't understand how...
There are no special rights for actors.
There are no special rights for anybody
Yeah.
in any sector. We're all guided by a certain act. So when you now have that and you have an opportunity to say that maybe Bakwena Productions are small. They're small guys.
Yeah.
But then the one thing about them is that when their name pops up in the media, it virals, it goes big. And you say that, okay, this is our opportunity to get a platform now with either the minister, the president, portfolio committee was the target this time. So SABC...
It got that far.
It got that far.
David,
SABC has to report... SABC, I think we need to get this. We have to be clear on this because this is a...
report
SABC
that we
has to
gave
report
these
to a
guys.
portfolio committee.
Yeah.
SABC has to report to a portfolio committee on anything that has to do with the national broadcaster. When there are rumors that are going out that there might have been some negligence or some sort of interference in public funding, it's a serious matter.
Absolutely.
When you make that type of allegation with a national broadcaster, it has to be taken seriously. And the test has to be put.
It's public
the only
money.
place that you have to report to is the portfolio committee. They use that opportunity to say that we have been knocking at the portfolio community with this topic for a good 20 years now. For a good 20 years now, we have not been inside. This is our opportunity. In the process, you don't realize what you are doing.
Yeah.
You are trying to fight for rights, but you
you
are about to. You don't even know that the impact that you have, 4,500 people are not going to get jobs because you're going to drive your narrative as an organization of a few, by the way.
Who claims
Of a few, by the way.
Who claims to
that
be
is going
fighting for
impact
actors' rights.
4,500 black lives. And when I say black lives, because that's what it is. Because there is situations where bigger broadcasters, production houses that are white, that are in this industry, that are in a bigger mess.
Yeah.
People are sitting 5 years not being paid. People recently now on other shows are sitting 6 months not being paid. You are not targeting those production houses.
why?
For whatever reason, you're leaving it out. Ours is a magnitude. You are targeting people who have paid, by the way.
Let me try to understand if anyone who is attacking you from whatever direction
SAGA.
whether it's SAGA or the actor that started all the trouble, so to speak.
Yeah.
We've asked what is the objective. It's as confusing as anything. But I'm trying to understand if there was ever an opportunity to sit down with SAGA, for example, or this actor guy, and say, no, what is the problem here? Have you guys had anything like that happen?
No, actually, I'd actually want to take that on because yes, there's interventions that have taken place. The first intervention is to communicate with our team members.
Yeah.
Our staff, our crew, was the first intervention that any company would have taken. We took that intervention. A lot of codes were broken. Then they went and they took stuff that were internal, they threw it to the media. They threw it to the media and they threw it in bits and pieces. It was half-bite stories, and anybody who could have connected, they connected one side of the story. There was never an opportunity to have a right of response, and even when there was a right of response, it came with a lot of aggression because then we had a movement that had built. But then secondly, most importantly, I will even take, with Brendan Oret, he called me, and he told me...
Before or after the trouble?
No. Now,
when
when he wanted his 2 standby days.
Okay.
When he wanted his 2 standby days for payment, he called me and then he told me where to get off. He told me where to get off, and then he told me that we will never ever see another day in this industry because he doesn't get paid. His last statement was that, pay me my money and you'll never hear from me again. I said to him, look, whatever happens, a process will still be followed. A process will still be followed. But I hear your threat. I hear your threat, and I'm going to test it, and I'm going to test it legally. We initiated legal processes on that. Now, also the key thing...
You initiated against him.
For defamation.
Of course.
We had to. It is for defamation. You have come and you've gone on a cult. You've rallied people. Some of the people that have been rallied, groups getting created. And then in those groups, you are sharing, you're sharing information in those groups, and you're only publishing certain things. You don't publish the messages where you're telling me, or hey, you're threatening my family. You don't publish those things. You're publishing stuff. So when you get that, then a camera operator joined. I still say Kaijal. Even a camera operator comes and joins now because he hasn't paid rent for 12 months. He hasn't paid rent for 12 months.
But we shot for 21 days.
He worked for 21 days. Now we have a problem that he's getting kicked out of the place. He then gets to rent. So people start to understand each other's problems. And we have a cult that grows. Now the cult is led. When that cult is led, whether you are sorted or not,
you are part of this thing.
Yeah.
That voice became resounding because now that voice goes and they go to me and they're very targeted. They go to some very experiences like Tina's, some media writers, very reputable. They start getting them. I mean, Tina's wrote 3 or 4 articles about us, never called us once. So
have you called Tina's?
Who couldn't? The only thing that we could
where do you begin? Where do you begin?
The only thing you can do is actually get through the onward.
And for me, I don't want this chat to become about Brandon, or SAGA. I think it really needs to be about a Black-owned production house that has done very well for itself from its own pocket with no funding, and that has taken the strides and created work in the industry. A production house that has done things that major production houses who've been there for 40 years who have never done. We have seen our actors die as paupers. We have seen our actors ask for help on social media.
They continue to do that
even now. If you're an organization like SAGA, and let's use the previous example, the recent example of a veteran actor who is struggling. I've never seen SAGA, not even once, say, let us go and collect. You know what I mean? Let's go and collect toiletries. Let's go and collect food. Let's go and collect. They never done that. What they've done is that they never celebrated Bakwena Productions when Bakwena Productions was paying royalties. They should have used that to come out and say, government or whoever, this is what we are fighting for. Right?
It's happening.
But instead they wait until we hit a hurdle. We accept the hurdle.
Is it common for production companies to struggle to pay? Having
how many
been on the receiving end?
Yeah.
And there's a thing. You see when people think of movies, you jump straight into Hollywood.
Of course.
Hollywood has built itself. It's built a reputation. They've got certain cost structures that they have put in place. They've got certain recovery models that they use, and there's a whole way how this whole thing comes
Investment structures.
It's a very solid financial line that actually governs that industry, which makes it so lucrative right now. It's well financed. It's well resourced. With us now, you're coming in. We are one of the only independent houses that we need to raise capital through those means. We're trying to adopt those structures where we raise capital. We've got to sell concepts. We've got to sell. And when we sell concepts, we're not just selling movies. We're selling an infrastructure that has to go and build so that when a corporate comes in, they know what they're buying into. They're not just buying into a story. They're buying into a commercial entity. They're buying into a commercial entity. They're supporting them because there's something in it for them also. And that's what makes commercial sense. We are trying to come with those structures where we put it in that we can go independent. At the same time, everybody wins. Everybody in the food chain wins. We don't have that now. We are so commission driven in South Africa because that's the only reputable financial structure that we have.
Yeah.
When you say commission driven, you're saying a SABC says, here's a job.
Yeah.
Here's a job.
You're shooting 12, 13 episodes, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Go pitch an idea.
And then we will cash flow. By the way, we will cash flow your budget.
You will cash flow, as a business, you will cash flow this entire production and be paid only after. Type of thing.
In a commission model, your example like your SABC, your DSTV, they would then cash flow the project.
Okay,
but it's theirs. They own it.
Yes.
You can come up with the idea, but it's theirs. It's theirs. It's theirs. It's their IP. They choose because they cash flowed it.
Got it.
They budgeted for it. But you don't budget for profit. It is you don't budget for profit in a commission thing. You're basically coming in as an employee.
Whoa.
You're working.
Okay.
You're working
Even-
for the
even
production.
Even if you are hiring 45 people,
Yeah.
you are
You're
getting
also an
You're a
employee.
senior manager.
tender.
You can get fired from your own idea.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yes.
And we you know,
And that's a commission
we're not
structure.
fighting the
We are then coming up with a new financial model
Okay.
that is going to benefit both your platform originators and your production houses,
Gotcha.
which is co-productions, where we can say, look, hang on, let us raise capital on our side, you raise capital on our side, let's partner and let's see where we can sell this
Yeah.
product
Have you
for
done
it to
this?
make commerce.
we have.
That's exactly what we have done with pound for pound. It's a co-production license agreement. It's a co-production license agreement.
Does it come with a new set of challenges?
It comes with a
does.
new set of challenges because as much as you have now, you've got a jockey backing you. You're also tied up now because you have to raise the capital.
Yes.
So it's basically David and Goliath coming together
And say, let's-
and they're saying who's going to catch the mouse.
Yes.
So it's that type of concept.
Yeah.
So you've got a situation where, yes, a top platform originator like a Paramount, it's big backing, global backing and stuff like that. If you come up with a project or a
It's
thing,
dollars, it's
Yeah.
pounds.
to meet them 50-50 becomes difficult on your side because you're still a small business. You're a small entrepreneur. You're basically, every time you do a project and you got to save, you have to save. So you have to work for 12 months in order to save. Then you have to work for another 12 months and you save. By the time you can meet your broadcaster, that's when you're in a position, which is what has happened. We basically used all the profit that we have made out of our other 5 projects in order to come in for a pound for pound, which is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the model, but it's just for us that hurdle that we hit. We could have maybe structured it a little less. We could have taken less investment into the business.
Yeah.
Let them soak up.
your packs to
We
your
could have
artists.
reduced, yes.
Yes.
We could have done that. And then, there's many ways we could have do it. It was a first, we're trying. We're always going to go through teething structures when we introduce new models of doing things.
But we cannot
I want you to go back to the how common it is for production companies to struggle to pay. Why that matters is
Yeah.
the reason there's this problem. And you've alluded to the fact that some production companies are still owing people money 5 years ago, jobs that they did a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you are going through is not out of the ordinary
No, it's not.
at all.
It's not. It's not out of the ordinary. We are not the first to go through it. The only thing that makes us different is that we fixed it.
Ah.
Yeah.
We
It shouldn't
paid.
have even been a problem.
It shouldn't have been a problem. You know what? We paid on the 28th of December,
Yeah.
2024. We paid.
You paid pretty much all suppliers and employees.
We paid cast. We paid crew, right? And here's the funny thing is that you're looking at 4 months later where someone goes out and they say they haven't paid. You know, this I'm sorry, man, this always
crazy.
brings me back to how irresponsible for SAGA to come out, for Jack to come out and say those statements. For me, it says, who are you representing in terms of the actors?
Yeah.
Are these people using you? Because they go and they cry foul, but then when they are sorted out, they don't tell you.
What a grand.
Horre sharp. They don't even put out a statement to say, thank you, SAGA, for maybe fighting with us. They don't. You are left in limbo. And that's the conversation I had with SAGA. I called and I said, why are you still putting out this statement? But because you haven't paid. And I said, but here's proof of payment 4 months ago.
What did they say?
Oh, we didn't know. And I said, who are you representing?
Yeah.
When we started SAGA, even now, SAGA is supposed to have a big membership in this country, is in terms of performers, right?
As in people it represents as a body.
As a body.
Yeah.
You know, there's monthly subscriptions that you're supposed to be paying as actors so that this body can have weight to go and fight because it's not supported by anybody, right? But those actors are not paying subscriptions. In fact, the only thing that they do is cry foul, and then you as SAGA go run. When they are sorted, they move on. They don't even say, here's 0.1% of saying, thank you, let me contribute towards this movement because it helped me.
I want to move slightly different and talk about reputational damage issues.
Yeah.
What are you dealing with currently when it comes to that?
Yeah, you see, that's
And
that's
personal.
that's the big. I think from a reputational damage. And I think this is what we have now taken seriously because it's a brand that we've built over many years.
Yeah.
It's a brand
From nothing.
From nothing, absolutely nothing. When we say literally, so we now, as we sit, we have not worked since pound for pound. We have
That's
not
what,
worked.
4 months?
Yeah. We have not worked. We had built a pipeline. This year, we're supposed to be busy with 12 productions.
Yeah.
We had built a pipeline of 12 productions ready-made. Everybody if it's not on pause, it's a rejection. For the first time now, we're even getting rejection letters. It's our impact, our status within the social programs that we did, the social programs that we worked together with government agencies that we had put on, all those social programs are gone. Everybody has not even called us once. All the activities that we did, especially with social development that we had initiated, are gone. Nobody is calling. Legislature projects that we had are gone. Nobody is calling. And yes, we did pitch for an SABC2 show. And now everybody has gone out and said that no, we have it. Well, here's what it is. We don't have it.
We don't have
yes, we're still in the race in order to get it. But now what this has done, whoever has decided to even leak any information, you have jeopardized that. So we don't even know if we were the front runner. It could be a situation that we're
David,
not even getting it at the end.
Sorry, Raj. So here's my other problem then. It's very difficult for us not to take this personal. Do you see what I'm saying? Because then I keep going back to SAGA to say, when you put out a statement and you say, why is the SABC giving a production house that still owes people when you don't have proof?
We don't have
You see.
whether they got the job or not.
Yeah, of whether they got the job or not.
Yeah.
You
that
responded
also,
to a rumor.
It's a big show. It's a big tender, and you start wondering
If it replaces Movango, it's a big project.
You start wondering, other people, big media and production houses, white owned, who've been waiting for this, trying to sabotage us and using the very same SAGA
that you started.
that I've started to push their own agenda.
Imagine that.
If SAGA needs to fight for actors' rights, fight for actors' rights. But when you make it personal, because there are big white-owned companies in this country who haven't paid people till today, why are we not going after them? Why this one?
Do you think there's a black-white issue?
Of course there is. Of course there is. And I'll say it boldly. You know what I mean? The more the young black production houses are coming in and trying to bring change, you are disturbing the equilibrium.
You're changing the status quo. Huh.
Who's at the foot race now?
Who's at the foot race now?
Yo. So you're saying there's a much bigger conspiracy at play.
There's a bigger conspiracy.
There's a much bigger conspiracy at play. But more importantly, let's not ignore what happened with her, because we still have our team members that have now rallied on and they are chasing. And we have a situation where we paid late. Not we didn't pay.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a situation where we paid late. Yes.
That remains a negative part of the story.
Yeah.
However, it got fixed.
Yes.
It got
And why
fixed.
must we be punished?
Yeah.
I mean, does this mean that we are going to suffer for the rest of the 20 years of our careers for paying late once
Yo.
compared to people who've never paid at all?
Oh, we paid late.
I mean, here's
We
my
still
point.
haven't paid.
And that's like, sorry for
But even
making
though
it
it's still
about
not our
race.
business,
But I'm
it's
saying,
not our business not to pay.
here's a Brendan Oret who, if he feels so strongly about actors' rights, why didn't he make so much noise against white-owned companies that haven't paid till today?
Yeah, but you can't say that statement if you don't know if he's got white people, that white-owned companies that are owing him.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Jorge, now for
Actors'
him,
rights as a whole.
for him, if, in terms of actors' rights, Why go personal? I mean, David, this thing has really affected us personally even.
Sure.
You've had Dinkabi sent to our homes. People don't know that.
No, literally.
We've had to have our children move.
But for that, and that's a bigger operation.
Do you get what
And
I'm
that
saying?
requires funding.
Exactly. Now
But
you
people
don't
call
have
me, they
money.
say, I know what
Mara,
school your kids attend.
Yeah,
I know what time they get. I know what time they get dropped off. I know what time they get picked up.
Did you have to change anything in your how you function every day?
how you reverse.
Yes.
How you reverse your car became such a big thing. Till today, David, you know, Nakongwe, our phones are not buzzing anymore. But you know, when you wake up in the morning, utshabalu light the phone and so that it goes zzz. And there was a point where I realized it's not doing that.
Yeah, anymore. It's quiet.
It's quiet. But that's the trauma.
Yeah.
Where you have to even say to your children, sorry, Wanaka, I can't post you on your birthday. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why did it have to go into family?
I struggle, man. I really do. I struggle to process how this got so big.
Because we kept quiet. That's why.
That's how it's started.
Yeah.
You know, I think people took advantage of the fact that we didn't come out and made noise because we wanted to remain professional. And now we are saying it's our time to come out.
Yeah.
Because now, you know, when you're on the back foot, you can't really come out and say, man, because I owe you money. I accept it. But now I don't owe you money. Why are you still poking? Because now it says, this has never been about me owing you money.
Yeah.
It's always been another agenda that you've been pushing.
Is it possible that the current
I
agenda...
wanted to say something that Ras said. Like, look at it now. When you say that you are SAGA and you're about creating jobs, right? When you shut us down, aren't you shutting a job for the actors that we're supposed to be created?
Can I have a rebut?
Yeah. Rebut, yeah.
I am SAGA.
Yeah.
I am shutting you down for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It may be sinister. I don't know. But I'm opening that job elsewhere.
Where?
That very job, let's use the SABC 2 opportunity.
Okay, yeah.
That very job that you would have gotten.
Yeah.
If you don't get it,
Yeah.
another company will get it. So that very job will have moved from you to some other
I take that.
production house.
I walk away from it.
So that's a possibility.
It's a nice possibility. It's a fine possibility.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, yes, it can move to somebody else. But yes, it's highly possible both of us would have lost.
That's why I ask. And that's why I continue to ask, why are you being targeted so strongly? I don't know. Everyone will sit back and say, with everything you've said, anyone will walk away from this and say, but they paid, it's fine.
Yeah.
But why is this carrying on?
Yeah.
Could it be the SABC 2 opportunity?
It is. Well, it is the SABC 2 opportunity one. That's why you target the national broadcaster, because nobody can scale up in the way the national broadcaster can scale up.
They remain one of the biggest payers.
Never mind one of the biggest payers, but they're the largest in viewership.
Okay, sharp.
They have an audience from radio to TV.
Absolutely.
Not only national, it's African. The minute we mention the SABC, we are gone. And that's the problem. They've taken advantage of that opportunity. Here's with other broadcasters, and Netflix is not going to flinch. We've worked with broadcasters that also have a global impact. We've done our Netflix thing. Netflix also gave us an opportunity in order to, with a Losing Lerato 2. Losing Lerato 2 was a big thing for Netflix. It hit #1 for 8 weeks. They had not seen that in Africa happen. They had not seen that in Africa happen. It went global. We even got a call 6 weeks after to say, this is the report back on your performance.
Yeah.
This is amazing. These are your stats. These are your figures. This is how you guys are doing. These are the topics that are coming out of your show. This is our selling points. This is what we're moving with. We had that whole thing, and we always knew that, yes, when we do something, we want to go big. And when we launch, we could launch a movie and stuff. Everybody knows it. It's TV. It's what? It's those guys. So this is your opportunity. I mean, Saga and them, they've been fighting this fight for 20 years. And relatively so, in 20 years, nobody has listened.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you mention Bakwena. And now you mentioned teamed up with an SABC, any opportunist, irrespective of what your agenda is. This is the opportunity to drive our narrative.
Yeah.
If they don't hear us now, they never will.
They'll never will. You know, here's another thing, David, that we put out there, just taking you through what we went through, is when the noise was happening and we were quiet, there's a lot of people that took advantage.
Okay.
And financially, emotionally, right? We ended up carrying burdens to that were not even part of our doing, right? For example, Rashid said, now when someone hasn't paid rent for 12 months, we shot for 21 days and they're being kicked out.
They mention your name.
They mention our name. But the point I'm trying to drive home is that then what happens is we start making payments. There are people who are putting in invoices that are fraudulent. Right? The extras agencies even, right? Where kidi ID tabatu maramoto udula ko toyando. Because we did our due diligence. When, as a company, you go through a crisis like that, you audit. And when we were doing our audit, a lot of people got exposed. But instead of not, you rather the narrative even further. Now, can you imagine if we say, okay, then that's fine, let's go with it. How many people would be arrested?
Maybe you shouldn't do that.
Do you get what I'm saying? But now it's the very same people that go into... So we are going through those internal processes that auditing. We're not going to jump because we are scared that you are going to go to the media and say something.
You're about to say a point, to make a point about why don't you get some people arrested in the process?
No, yes,
defamation of character issue.
And I'm saying is that then you've got your organizations that come out. You've got your individuals that come out. Agencies. We had a lot of agencies on this. Our model was never to work directly with agencies. We like to work with the artists. We like to work with the crew members. We like to work with the actors. We like to work directly with them for one reason, because we don't want them to be exploited by agencies.
Okay.
We don't want them to be shortchanged.
You want
not
them to
because
get their full money.
To get your full money, not to be shortened at any point. But for this one, yes, it was a big project for us. We had to work with agencies so that they can be able to manage their own artists, irrespective. When you come in and then agencies come in and your SABC, and there was one your SABC with your background actors that came in, we said, but we have been we've highlighted that there was fraud that took place. We've got to go through a process. That process cannot happen on your time because you think it's a 2-week turnaround time. Maybe you don't understand the concept of fraud.
Yeah.
And it's still an allegation.
Yeah.
We can't say we've completed our investigations, fraud, because if we complete our investigations and there's no malice, we then proceed.
And this fraud is fake in process.
And ID.
Never mind fake. You've got on your sign-on sheets. Because you know that we're not going to count where 150 extras were there. We're not going to be able. The only way we account for somebody that was there, you need to do your sign-in sheet.
Like
You got on it, Sign a register. Now it's missing. Then we ask you and said, when you ask an agent, you said, where's your sign-on sheets? Because you keep a copy when you leave. No, I need time to get it. And the person comes back 5 days later. Here's my sign-on sheets with my invoice. What is that? 6 months after shoot.
You take
6 months after shoot
that sheet,
and then we must let it go.
And you still audit that sheet, and then you realize, but this is the same signature as this one and as this one, because someone thinks, you won't go through the signatures,
you won't go through the original sheet,
you won't go through the names, you won't go through the IDs, you won't make the phone calls. We will
and that's the thing. What people
calls.
don't even know, those guys maybe because they're a small project, they don't have due diligence processes in place.
Do they?
And it is not the case.
Is there what narrative persists and permeates society now about you? What are people saying?
So we have a situation where, yes, the majority, we still get the support. We still get people who watch our shows.
That's true.
The majority is positive.
It's positive.
Every positive. I mean, with Kagiso, when he posts his thing, they respect the work that he has contributed to the industry. Everybody knows the work that I've done. They even know that, yes, even with my marriage when it comes, because they know that I'm a family person. I post about family. The support is resounding and overwhelming. We still have that. We're not going to take that.
Yeah.
But we do have a situation where a structured organization has come together to drive a specific narrative.
Yeah.
And we are now feeling we are the pawn in this game. If you read all the articles, they have absolutely nothing to actually do with us.
Yeah.
But when somebody finds a paid-off line, why does the SABC decide to work with a company that has a reputation of non-payment? Hang on.
Do you know, having played a little bit in your world of shooting stuff and putting them on TV, I have a very good sense of how easy it is to tarnish someone's name. Amongst fellow colleagues. Where when they mention your name, they say, not that guy.
Not that guy. Yeah.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
And you find that it was one experience that this person had about you, or they had about somebody else. And the immediate reaction is, you can't work with him. He's like this, he's like this. No. And then they move on. And it could be because there's a lot of other people that can replace you. Companies that can replace you even at a cheaper price and things like that. And you're saying all is well, maybe in another side, but it's possible that there's been a strong reputational damage amongst fellow colleagues and TV broadcast platforms and things like that.
I think that's the, sorry if I can just jump in there, guys, because that's the important one. Not even strange. Our partners are still supporting us. Our partners still want to work with us. They've indicated that. That they still want to work with us. So we have that strong, not because we are friends. They say your reputation in terms of the work that you deliver still remains flawless. It is strong.
We speak through our work.
Now we have this situation where somebody is out there and is driving a different narrative. What are you doing about it? Which is what brings us to platforms like this.
Because it's possible to have a good, positive work reputation. But you're still that asshole that doesn't pay bills.
He's a great
tense as well, Mari. All out there.
I think,
and I also just want to tell you, I know I'm jumping in. You know, I want to jump in on this. I want you to hold that thought. Don't forget that thought. You do have that guy, but then here's this guy who then says, when you ask them, did you pay people? And what is your reputation of paying? And my answer is off the top of my head, because I'm also tasked in the business, which is the person who deals with the finances. And I can broadly say we've got 7,940 fully processed invoices, successfully so. We have created 4,550 jobs to date. We have contributed to close to 30,000 families in South Africa. Here it is. On the schedule, on a cost report. Successful transaction with proof of payment.
Did you pay this person?
Did you pay them? Where do you get a narrative that we have a reputation on not paying on various productions? If you bring it, I have it here. I put it here. This is the success. The success story, yes, might be in the stories, but there's also success in the numbers. And that's what we can tell that success story in the numbers, and that's what we put out. That's why when we say our reputation,
we're not in the 20 years. What have you done, as SAGA? We can tell you. We can put it and say this is how much. I like the numbers. Do you know what I mean, SAGA? What have you contributed in the 20 years?
Don't you have access to?
I do.
To the SAGA.
I do.
Executive.
I do, and that's why I made the call on Saturday. I said, you know, I've been very quiet, but no, Lentala blind. And that's what this is about. It's us. It's not us being nervous. It's not us being nervous about the relationships that we have with our partners. We're not nervous about it. But it's time that we say, hold on. Maybe when we are too quiet, you think that you are burying us. And I want to say that you have to understand who we are. When we bury us, we are seeds. When you cover us, and when on that grave, and you can throw all the garbage on that grave, we use it as manure. So you cannot write us off. We will not allow for somebody who's never contributed what we've contributed to the industry to tarnish our name. This is us standing up for Bakwena. We could have called this company
anything.
Plastic Productions. Hold on. When we say Bakwena, maybe you don't have an understanding. Maybe you are just a guy who unfair. We're talking about our ancestors here. Those are the people who are behind us. And they will not allow your silly comments, that your silly uninformed comments, to break what we are building, this legacy that we are building for generations. Maybe you are used to, back in the days, you could say something when and things could change. Not this time, brother. Not this time. Get your facts right. And if we now need to stand up for ourselves, uzolandwa clever.
Was there a reaction?
That's it. No. And
is there a reaction at all from SAGA now that you're talking?
They're quiet. But we don't know what's the next thing that's going to come out in that media.
Do you sense that the work of tarnishing your brand continues?
Yeah, it continues. Here's a latest example. On over the weekend, on Sunday, City Press releases an article with the Bakwena story. Said, no, we need to understand. What is it? They release an article with the Bakwena story.
Did they call you?
Yes, they called us and everything. And they wanted to know where the story began in terms of Bakwena as a company. There is an insert. It gets overwhelming response. Everybody started with now a positive story.
Yeah.
A positive story. And we did a tell-all. We said, here's our journey, which brings us where we are today. Why? And now, after that story comes out, because it was too great, then we have a Sunday World journalist who wrote the story last week about Sabak. And then she realized, no, Bus City Press Ngare, they are changing whatever drive. Yesterday takes out the very same article, no new information.
And they didn't tell us.
An old article.
So the article comes out last week, Thursday.
That said,
Sunday World.
You're owing people.
That says, hey, we are owing people, and they liked, and they've coupled it with other stories, and they like. City Press comes out with an article over the weekend that tells a good story about Bakwena and our contribution to the industry. The person, it was too much for. Same journalist, by the way.
Yeah.
Same journalist releases an article the day before, yesterday.
Uninformed.
Same news. Same news, a different flavor now. Adds portfolio committee.
Where's journalism in this country?
Is that proof that there's a bigger conspiracy?
There's a bigger conspiracy.
My question is, as a journalist, we know reputable journalists and investigative journalists. They will call you. They will say, Prayaka, at least a proof of payment.
I've had one.
Yeah.
I've had one recently.
Do you know what I mean?
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
It scared me, but I realized I have nothing to be scared about.
Yeah.
I'm journalist so-and-so calling from such and such a paper. Sure. You owe SARS. Yeah. Me. I'm afraid of SARS.
Yeah.
I will pay them a week before.
Yeah.
I don't want trouble. No. Is your company Mashabela something incorporated?
Yeah.
I said, Chief, sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong Mashabela. No. We have all the paperwork. I said, comrades. Do you want to show me the paperwork and I'll show you the real paperwork?
Yeah.
He said, no, you show me your paperwork. I said, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
I even called my accountant. I said, please make sure I don't owe SARS.
Yeah.
Because I'm being investigated by journalists.
Yeah.
And then he said, no, man, what company is that? I then called this guy again. I said, at least give me the company
name,
registration
number.
number.
Yeah.
He gave me. I sent it to my accountant. I said, dude, why you worried? This is not you. This has nothing to do with
It's
you.
another Mashabel.
I said, yo, you get nervous. It's like
but
you
here's
get
what's even
stopped
more-
by the cops. You think
Here's
you
what's
did
even
something
worse.
wrong.
Here's what's remember when you ask for the proof, there's no voice. Our name is a voice. So our name gets banned. There's no voice. There's no proof. There's nothing.
Yeah.
By the time we're even gathering our thoughts to understand actually what is going on, we want to do something, and we say, no, we finally got it. Somebody's forged user, check out Twitter.
The story's already out.
Stories out, everything. Now things are starting to trend. You don't have the way, like, but okay, what response are we going to respond? The story is out.
We are not running away. We are not defending ourselves. We accept, and I think, Rash, we want to use this platform as well to apologize.
Yeah.
To apologize to the crew, apologize to the actors, apologize to the suppliers, apologize to any inconvenience that we caused. We were doing this for the greater good. We were doing this for all of us. We were doing this so that this show would have been so great, and it still is great, that it would open more doors. We're doing this so that we could build this strong team where it's just us, we are running with this thing. We're not bad guys. And the crew knows that. The actors know that. They saw how we worked together. You know what I mean? And we apologize. Like Matsoho Momitsing. You know what I mean? But we are also saying, Hore, we can't be punished for something that we have sorted. We have paid.
We've taken accountability.
We've taken accountability of it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more. Ke jive. Yetsagetse. And railukisa. You know what I mean? That's where we are now. When we are talking to our people, when we are talking to our crew, when we're talking to our actors, those are the people that I think we need to address.
And there's still enough support from those.
And there's enough support from those.
Yeah.
And for us, that's why we sit and we go, if we were so bad, if we were this messed up company, why are people still the very same people saying, what's next, guys? Do you get what I'm saying?
Why do people still call you?
It's
to check if Honal spy.
And it's not
When
because
do we
they are
start
hungry.
working again? I heard rumors. It's
that you are
I heard rumors that
there could be
please.
SABC production.
But here's the thing, David, and I don't want us to look at it as if we get calls from people who are hungry. We get calls from people who are busy.
Yeah.
Moto from this job to that job to that job. Like currently, when they are calling, they're in the job and they say, guys, when you do the next one, don't leave me out.
Please.
That should say something about us.
Tell me though, in terms of this SABC2 job, naturally you hope you secure it.
Yeah.
Cross fingers. I mean,
I'm a SABC person through and through.
Yeah.
If SABC was a soccer team and
Yeah.
other platforms were other teams,
yeah.
I would be supporting SABC
Well, which is number 10, cheaper.
Yeah.
with all
Yeah.
its challenges.
Yeah.
It remains home. SABC for me is the love that people have for Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's strong, irrespective.
Yeah, irrespective. Yeah.
So I'm naturally hoping that you get it as well, because I know SABC's ambitions now. And those ambitions are more crystallized now, probably more than any other time in the past 5, 6, 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a few missteps, I imagine, over the years. One of the biggest missteps for me by SABC was not keeping up with everything else that's happening.
Yeah.
However, I think consciousness is well in place now to understand what's going on, and to try to play along with what's going on. Because in the technology has changed so much that those who still vote for landline, they look like something is wrong with them. So if SABC was a landline, I wouldn't be supporting it. Basically, there are those who are saying, no, man, this thing is not working. Let's just dump it. There are those that are saying this thing is strong enough. It has to continue to be supported. You said it earlier. You said SABC still continues to have the biggest audience. Do you know there are people who don't believe that? Which is the strangest thing. They don't believe and understand that. And the reason they don't is because they are inside a Uber. They don't think other people use taxi.
And they're like,
do you know what I mean? It's like, no, man. Everybody uses an Uber.
It's reality.
Exactly. And that's really what's happening.
And then go on to complain about how taxi drivers drive.
Yeah, of course. Because
when somebody says that half the nation did not see the Springboks win the World Cup, why?
You see, exactly.
You
need to ask yourself why. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
It's exactly things like that. It wasn't on the national broadcast.
So and you're right with the SABC. The passion is that, and also pitching and gunning for this thing. Our ambition has always been to make it to the SABC. Anybody can say, but you've been on your Netflix's Prime Video and all of that in out. You actually slipping in and out when you want. We said, well, you don't understand what it takes to get to the SABC. If you're going to have a platform that plus minus has got 20 million people in the country
that are waiting
across
to
various
be
platforms that are waiting to be entertained.
I like what you said.
You don't get that. It's an opportunity. For us, that is the opportunity. We wanted to find a gap where we can punch in and be part of a bigger picture. We are there now.
Right, so they're putting it down.
Being as an blind, because that's the feeling I had when I won a SAFTA, my first one. I've won so many. I mean, even as a team, we've won so many international awards in Hollywood. But getting that SAFTA for me was like, this is it.
My people are see me.
Do you know what I mean? And when you travel overseas, even when you're traveling with your film, the first question they ask you is, how well did you do at home?
Exactly.
So winning at home is really important to me. And that's why we say this, that we can be on your Netflixes and be on, but being at the SABC,
that's the dream.
That's always been the dream.
That's my team, man.
So many people have been part of the growth of Bakwena. So many people. When I even count them to the last invoice, it's so many people have been part of it. We never did it alone. There is just no way. So many family members. You don't know how many times during this process we've gone down on our knees, or no matter what happens. Don't take this bread away from this family that has been created by Bakwena. And that's all we're asking. Don't take it away. But we will continue on our mission, and that is to create jobs, make sure that it's sustainable jobs, make sure that we all win. That's our impact, that's our goal.
Rush and guys, so I wish you guys well.
No, thank you.
So
I understand. I've had challenges as well. Running a small business is tricky.
It's tricky.
Concluding question, and answer it the best way you can. Do you think there's a challenge that black businesses face, and that is beyond their immediate control? You can control paying invoices, receiving money, hard work. You can control paying the electricity, paying bills, and all of that. But there are other forces that are outside of you that you cannot control. Do you think black businesses in South Africa may be facing things like that and they are not aware of?
I don't think. The challenge narrative has been going on. The black business challenge narrative has been going on for long enough. And I think those days of complaining about it are over. They've been over for a while. We are not facing challenges. We're facing sort of, how do we grow? What is our pattern of growth now? How do we strategically plant ourselves in a position where we can grow as black business?
Got you.
And we do have platforms. We've got government structures. The Department of Trade and Industry have introduced entrepreneurship programs that really work. And it comes through mass participation. Not only that, We, as black business, some of us have been working in corporate structures for many years, where we get to understand what does it take to build an empire. We have that. In fact, black businesses, there are empires that are already built. I always go back to a story of the NBC story. If anybody can Google the NBC story, that was the first. That was the first championship win, where we could have an investment house in venture capital doing that during apartheid. We need to go back to those days. What got them to build your Center for Black Economic Development, your NAXAs of this world that were developed. We have all these structures that were created in order to get black business together and to become an operative narrative that is there for commercial sustainability. We have it. We cannot complain. We have all the tools at our disposal. Now it's how we structure ourselves as black business. Just like the Jews do when they come, just like the Greeks do when they come together, and even in our own black society.
Are very good at it.
Just like Venda people would do same, just like the Zulus would do same.
Yeah.
We have a way. Collective thought brings about championship thinking, and that's what we need to now channel black business. We're not out there to complain that no, we don't have support. You've got support. You've got strategies. Have championship winning. How do I succeed? How do I navigate to the next level? How do I grow? What are my ambitions? What are my strategies? How do I structure myself? How do I keep on making sure that I train myself to get to the next level? That's all it is. Collective thought, collective leadership. That's what we need right now in order to make sure that we triumph as black business. And we are on path to a route of success. Every time we reach hurdles, let's not use the blame game. We don't have a challenge.
And let's impress each other down.
But when our productions never, as an example, never got to where it was by us feeling sorry for ourselves. And so to answer your question is to say business is business. It has its challenges, whether it's emotional or physical or financial. The key thing is, as a business, especially as a black business, to stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's where you start wanting to play the blame game and not looking internally. We have achieved that, to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and to fix our mistakes, to grow, to plant ourselves in places where we know that we're going to create legacies. And that's where we are, and our motto is Bakwena, we are powerful in water and we are powerful on land. Even through the toughest times, we sit and we go, Kunzima. Where are we? Are we on land? Okay, we're still powerful. Are we on water? We are floating. Are floating. Instead of saying, we are on land.
We can't breathe. Gents,
thank you very much, King.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bakwena. Powerful on land.
Powerful in water.
Thank you, gents. Thank you so much. Thanks for the visit. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's always nice coming here.
Hey, I'm still on Jabulani hotline.
King David Studio Podcast.